Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. Although the purpose of this project is for me to identify my primary leadership style, I prefer substance over style. Now, Toastmasters itself tells us there are 5 attributes of a successful leader. And they are being an effective communicator, leading by example, being optimistic, which I thought was really interesting, open-minded, and demonstrates integrity. So I thought, let's start with those things that make a successful leader. When I first joined Toastmasters, they encouraged us to go to district events, and I went to a district event, and there was a woman there, and her name was Pat Allison. Pat Allison gave a speech. She gave a speech about this project that she had to create a special club, not just a club to have an extra club. This was a club with a purpose. And it was clear in her head, she already had a title. The title of the club was to be Professional Women Toastmasters. Professional Women Toastmasters, because she observed many women in leadership that were so involved with the leadership, they forgot effective communicator. And so she wanted to create a club where they'd feel comfortable by themselves and able to practice communicating. Because you know, once you get up to the higher echelons of leadership, if you're not communicating well, it doesn't match. So everything Pat did was a lesson in leadership. It was awesome. She came, she asked for a committee to help her. I volunteered. And so I could see everything, and it was awesome. But there was one leadership skill that she had that just hit at me. It made such an impression. It was at the point where we had the club already organized. She was the first president to make it run smoothly. And she said at a meeting, and there was like 25 or 30 of us, she said, "Who here wants to be the next president?" Well, first of all, that was future thinking. Second of all, there was a choice. Third of all, only one person raised their hand. Trust me, it wasn't me. It was a woman, it was the woman that had the least experience in Toastmasters of anyone. The nerve of her. And Pat said, okay, she didn't make a judgment. She said, you're interested? She mentored her. She trained her, she groomed her. As it happens, something personal happened in her life and she had to withdraw. I was the second president of Professional Women Toastmasters.
Hey.
And I had the benefit of Pat's mentorship, of her grooming. It was awesome. It was a gift. During my, of course I'm going to cough right now. During my being president, you know, people come as guests, and people came as guests. And there was one time a person came as a guest. This woman came from work. She was dressed professionally, business suit. Plus, she had a sense of elegance or something. Some people, you know, just have that stature or something. It was impressive. So I was president, and I said, hello, how are you? Nice, you know, what are you interested in? Here's a membership form. And it was interesting that this very elegant woman was nervous. that the Toastmaster is, she was nervous. It was at that, then, I became her mentor. And guess what? Many, many, many years later, I rejoined Toastmasters to get active, and now she is my mentor. So who can that be but our wonderful Ann Hastings? So what's interesting about her and me is that we are together. She was an innie and I was an outie. I'm not, nope. But she looked into Toastmasters and she saw there all the opportunities that there was to learn about leadership and to give. And so, just like they tell you a step at a time, she took a step at a time. She took this opportunity, that opportunity, that opportunity, that opportunity. Voila! She was district governor. And did she? Yes, all of it. I said I had things outside that I wanted to accomplish, and I wanted to use these skills outside. The first thing I did was I called my rabbi and I said, Rabbi, there's this committee that I want to be on. Can you tell me when it meets? And I am sure that that rabbi looked on the roster to see, was there a Merle Singer that was a member? He gave me the information. I went to the committee the first day. The second time we met, somehow I ended up as the head of the committee. 3 years later, I was president of the congregation. Next thing that happened was my husband and I bought a building in Hollywood. You know how tourists come to Hollywood? Well, I come to find out that gang members come to Hollywood to sell drugs. Now, any other time, I would have been wiped out. You know, I don't know a guy, I don't know what I do. This time I said, we have to do something. What I meant was, I have to do something. I created Las Palmas Lions. Las Palmas for the street, Lions for the courage. I got people, I said, okay, we're gonna have these walks. I don't know how I got them to do it, but I did. And I created an agenda so that it wasn't every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. It was a different time each, couple of times a week, whatever. And actually, over a period of time, the drug dealers went away. And just like Annie said, here's an opportunity in Toastmasters, I can do this, I can do that. That's what I saw in Hollywood. I can do this, here's this need, this need, this need, this need. Ended up as, I never get this right, the head of the Community Police Advisory Board, civilian chair of the Community Police Advisory Board. That was totally cool. What was cool was that the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce gave me an award as a Distinguished Woman of the Year.
Oh.
What's interesting is that it also saved my marriage. How could that be? How could that be? You know, I didn't realize it, but I had been in a midlife crisis, and all these, I have different time, all of these things were a way of me expressing myself, giving to the world. It made me feel happy. And you know, when you're happy, everything looks happier. My husband looked happier. And it led to 57 years.
Hey.
So, I don't care about your style. I think we have a culture in Toastmasters for looking for attributes of successful leaders. Let's continue to do that, Mr. Toastmaster.